Welcome back to Spotlight with Britt. I have got to say, this is going to be very weird for me for a few reasons as this conversation continues. It has been a while since I have recorded an episode, and there are several reasons for that, but just hang with me. I'm going to do things a little differently today or tonight or this morning, wherever you are listening, whatever time it is for you. It is the evening of 4 weeks as I record this, 4 weeks since I got married, and I am now officially Brittany Goodman. So hang tight. We're going to jump into the conversation. Stay with me because I've got a lot to put out there for y'all. And I'm actually not even going to edit this episode. So they always say, get comfortable being uncomfortable. Well, this is uncomfortable for me, but it's going to be great. So let's get it going. Open up my hands, you open up my eyes, I let go. All I am is yours. Okay, so I am sitting here in my kitchen. This is very different from any other podcast that I've recorded. Typically, I'm in the podcast studio at our office in Little Rock. And today I just have felt that I needed to put a message out. I felt that urge, and I really have wanted to record one prior to today, but it just for one reason or another hasn't happened. So, as I mentioned, it's been a while since I recorded the last episode, and 4 weeks yesterday, I got married and became a wife and a pastor's wife and a stepmom to 4 kids and so many other things. And it has been crazy. So there's just been a lot going on, y'all. There's a lot that I'm thankful for. And just first and foremost, I want to reiterate something that I mentioned in episodes past. So the podcast Spotlight with Britt, in episodes before today's, I haven't spoken about God as much, especially in like the first season and the first episode or two, I guess, of season 2. The last few episodes, I definitely would say he has come up a lot more frequently in conversation. And I feel like that's something that is going to continue to evolve and will be a bigger part of the episodes that you will hear in the future. So I want to start out with a verse from the Psalms, and I thought it was fitting because I saw a sign the other day that said, you only get one today, so make it the best that it can be, basically. So you only get today one time. So we only have like another, well, when I'm recording this, there's only like another hour and 15 minutes of today. So today has been awesome. It is currently Sunday, January the 19th. I'm going to keep it short and sweet. If you have heard or watched previous episodes, you will also notice that this one is different because I do not have video. So I'm curious for those that are tuned in. Let me know in the poll. I put a poll in, or just give me some feedback in the comments wherever you're getting this podcast. And let me know. Do you enjoy the videos? Have you never ever watched any of the videos? Would you like to see videos in the future? Give me your feedback. Give me your thoughts. So, as I said, I want to give you a verse of scripture. So there's a calendar that I have here in my kitchen, and I need to get a new calendar. Um, we're almost a full month into 2025 as I sit here and read this verse to you from August of 2024. But it says it's from Psalm 113 and it's verse 3. And it says, "From the rising of the sun unto the going down of the same, the Lord's name is to be praised." And today and yesterday and Friday and all the days of this month, honestly, so far of the new year, they have been pretty awesome. We have been blessed with some snow. So my mom's birthday was on January the 10th, and she has for a long time wanted a white Christmas and she loves snow. Well, we didn't have a white Christmas in 2024, but she had a white birthday. So it snowed the day before her birthday and it snowed more on her birthday. And we got a total of probably, I would say, 10 or so inches here in North Little Rock. So I say all that to say the Lord's name is to be praised. And so even for the small things like getting snow on your birthday, like that's really cool. Um, I don't know if you believe in God or if you pray or, how spiritual of a life that you live, but I want to be the first to tell you that God is awesome. There's a song about it. Our God is an awesome God. And I just, I hope that previous episodes have maybe sparked some curiosity for you or have reinvigorated your love for God or maybe led you to exploring church or reading scripture or whatever that looks like for you. Um, so, by profession, I am in marketing and advertising. I've been in sales for over 10 years and I'm currently self employed. And I looked back actually, so October the 10th of 2012, at that time I was employed at the Better Business Bureau here in Little Rock. And I had a lady that I worked with, she had a Mary Kay party. And so the woman came in, Judy was her name, and she set the party up and we did, makeup, facials, all that stuff, had a great time. And I actually signed up to be an independent beauty consultant for Mary Kay. So that is over 12 years ago now. Time flies when you're having fun. Um, but one of the big things in Mary Kay is Mary Kay Ash said, God first, family second, career third. So a friend of mine, Rita, we were actually at one of the recent meetings at Judy's house, and I got some perfume from her that had gone. They stopped selling it, and so it was really sweet because I just had my wedding, and she also brought me a calendar with that bag of makeup. Excuse me, that bag of perfume. So she said, I don't know if you want this, but I thought I would bring it to you just to see. And it was one of those 365-day calendars that you set up on your desk and it's got the spiral binding at the top. And so I've been flipping through it. I'm bad about a daily thing until it becomes, a habit. And I've done it for 21 or 28 days, however many they say, to make a habit. And yesterday's and a few days before that, there were 2 days that really impacted me that I wanted to share with y'all. So, like I said, Mary Kay Ash, she's the founder of Mary Kay. And this calendar has some words of wisdom from her. And so I want to read these two for you really quick. At the top of each page, it has a word, and then toward the second half of the page has like a little blurb and something that Mary Kay had said. So for yesterday, which was January 18th, The word was happiness. And Mary Kay said, to me, happiness is, first, having work that you love to do, something you like so much you do it even if you weren't paid. Second, happiness is someone to love. And third, it's having something to look forward to. So I wanted to share this with you because I am filled with an abundance of happiness in this very moment as I sit here and talk to y'all on this new podcast episode. So, something that I like so much, I do it even if I weren't paid. Even if I did not get paid to do my podcast, which I don't actually. I still like it that much that I'm bringing this content to you all, and hopefully it's impacted at least one person in episodes past, today's episode, and episodes to come. In the beginning of the episode, I said, get comfortable being uncomfortable, right? So this still isn't completely comfortable for me, but I can't explain to y'all I I can't even think of the word right now, honestly. And it's weird that I'm not going to edit this podcast, so you're going to hear all of these rambling thoughts. But I appreciate you sticking with me. So it's with something that you do so much, you love so much, even if you weren't paid. That's a passion, y'all. That is having a career that you love. And for me, believe it or not, that's sales. I was in college. I had no idea what I wanted to do, and I had a professor that told me that I should pursue my degree in sales, be a salesperson, get my degree in marketing and advertising, what have you. And I told Professor Edison that I didn't want to be, I couldn't see myself being that stereotypical salesperson, pushy, very much of like a hard closer, like overly persistent. Um, yeah, you you hear no, and I've often heard that a lot. But no doesn't always mean just flat no. It means not right now. So that persistence has carried with me in a variety of ways in my life. And personally, I would encourage you to be persistent in something that you're passionate about, whether that is your career, whether that is a hobby, whether that is just influencing someone in some form or fashion. And I feel like one way I'm doing that is through this podcast. And even though there's been gaps and times that you haven't had an episode that got released on the second or fourth Wednesday, you haven't been able to get the podcast edited and published in a day. There's so many setbacks that we go through in life, and that persistence is what's key. So if you don't start, you're never going to learn and grow because you have to fail to grow. You learn from those failures and those mistakes, and you persevere and you're persistent and you get comfortable being uncomfortable. So, something you like so much, you do it even if you weren't paid. That's what I encourage you to find. And you can share that in the comments too. If you have something that fits the description for you, let me know what it is because I'd be so excited to hear that. Second, it says happiness is someone to love. So as I mentioned, I got married. It was the 21st of December, actually. So it was 4 weeks and 1 day ago today as I sit here recording this episode for you all. And I'm going to have Paul on a future episode. As I mentioned, I am now a pastor's wife. He is the associate pastor of our church, Landmark Missionary Baptist Church in Rose City. And I'm also now a stepmom to 4 kids. And I've never been married before, never had any kids. I have had a couple of fur babies, and I'm an in between phase. I don't currently have one right now. And I think I've shared about Mabel and Sugar in the past, and I'll probably share about them again. But those were my 2 girls. And so I've told the kids that after we get back from the honeymoon, we are probably going to get a dog. I don't know what kind for sure, and I don't know when exactly, but that's on the horizon. And so even if it's not someone to love, have something to love, y'all. Like your fur babies, they say that a dog is a man's best friend or a woman's best friend. So a dog, a cat, a bird, I mean, whatever your liking is for an animal, if you so choose to have one for a pet, I would encourage you to find that companion. But my someone to love is my husband, Paul Goodman. And that is still so weird to say my husband, but I'm getting acclimated to it. Yes, 4 weeks and 1 day worth of being acclimated to being someone's wife. So, last but not least, third is having something to look forward to, is what Mary Kay said. I am looking forward to going to Vegas. So, Paul and I are taking our honeymoon and we're going to go to Vegas. My mom so graciously blessed us with a trip. Well, her timeshare. She had booked a week, and she and my stepdad decided that they were going to change some plans, and so she gave us a week at her timeshare in Vegas. So we are leaving very soon, and we are building a list of all the places that we're going to go. So we're going to go check off a couple things on our bucket list. We're going to go see the Grand Canyon and the Hoover Dam, and we're very excited. So we're definitely looking forward to going to Las Vegas and do some sightseeing, just check out all the different casinos, and we're not going to spend any money because we definitely want to be able to use the money that we have saved and make memories with that, whether that is sightseeing, whether that is going and having some great dinner. We always joke and say that if food was a love language, one of the 5 love languages, that would definitely be ours. So I've got a huge list of restaurants we're going to go check out. So stay tuned, and I will get you feedback on that in an upcoming episode. So, happiness, that sums up the happiness day uh, for the Mary Kay calendar. And the other day that I wanted to share with you, the word is courage. So, Mary Kay writes this about courage. When I had the dream to start this company, my children, including Richard, demonstrated the courage to help make my dream come true. Courage is truth. Courage is confidence. No matter how dark a night might be, courage always finds the light and the promise of a distant star. So I picked this day to share with you all for a few reasons. First and foremost, the title of the podcast is Spotlight with Britt. So the fact that light was in this one, I really liked this day. I also enjoyed the fact that it mentioned courage is confidence. So again, I mentioned get comfortable being uncomfortable. So it's not always easy doing something new. And no one likes being uncomfortable. If you do, shout out, let me know, put that in the comments. I want to know if you are someone who enjoys sitting in an uncomfortable situation off the bat from the get-go, and that doesn't faze you. I will be surprised if I get that many comments, if any, but I'm sure there's someone out there that enjoys that uncomfortability. So, as I said, there are several things in this day's note that I liked. The final one is courage is truth. So, whenever you think about truth, you think about something that is real, that is proven, that is reliable, that is factual. So I'm going to tell y'all, we're going to go back to God for a second. If you don't have a relationship with God, if you don't believe in God, if you question his existence, um, I would like to encourage you to explore that thought a little bit further. I'm going to tell you in another episode part of my testimony, but when I mentioned a while ago that the first day's note that I read to y'all said, happiness is someone to love. Okay. I'm in the moment of recording this podcast episode. I am 36 years old. So, like I said, I'd never been married before. And I prayed to God for Paul. And as crazy as it was for me to see this early on in our relationship, um, you have this idea of the person that you want to marry and who you want to be with and what their physical features are and what their personal attributes are. And I'll be honest, I've told Paul this as well. He fit some of that criteria, but in other ways, he did not match up with what I envisioned. Specifically, the fact that he had been married before and that he had kids. So I always said that I wanted to marry somebody that had never been married, didn't have any kids, and they had this look and their personality was that and whatever. And, the older that you get, the more things get put into perspective. And I realized that all those criteria didn't necessarily matter. And I don't know if y'all have ever listened to an audiobook. But it was several years ago for me when I listened to my first one completely, like from beginning to end. And I can't remember the author's name, but the audiobook was titled The Man God Has for You. And I'm going to tell you, like I prayed to God for a long time, like over 2 years, to send me a godly man, to send me someone that would do anything for me, that was hardworking, that was just an amazing person. And Paul had to go through a pretty rough time after his divorce. And I won't get into all of that, but unfortunately, he had to go through a rough patch. And fortunately for us, it brought us together. And where, might you ask, did we meet? We met at church. So when it says courage is confidence, courage is truth, courage always finds the light, I can absolutely 100% wholeheartedly tell you that God sent me Paul, and God sent me to Paul, and he is my soulmate. I did not picture being a stepmom to one, much less four kids, but they have turned out to be so awesome. And there's two boys and two girls. And everyone was kind of, well, you gotta, the girls are gonna be in that phase and they're teenagers. And well, let me tell you what, if you have God in your life and you have children and you raise those kids in the church and you teach them and lead them by the word in the Bible, I can attest to the fact that they can become some pretty upstanding individuals, they being the kids and the adults, especially if the parents of those kids had parents who were also in church. And I know I feel like I've kind of gone all around the world to get to the end of this episode, but I encourage you to find courage and to trust that God's plan for your life is perfect. And if you aren't certain of what that purpose is that God has for you in your life, then I would encourage you to pray about it and ask Him to show that to you, and pray for wisdom and understanding, and be open to whatever you may feel is the answer that you receive. And don't be afraid. Be courageous. If you pray for something and you pray for something and you finally get whatever that is sent to you, pray about it, because just because something comes your way doesn't always mean that it's your end result. They say some people are there for a season, some people are there for a reason. And I definitely feel like Paul's reason is, well, the reason that Paul is here is because I prayed for him. I prayed to God to send me a man like him. And again, I'm going to have Paul on a future episode, so stay tuned for that. Remember to search for happiness in every day and make it the best day, because we don't know if we're going to get tomorrow. And I encourage you to live out your life with courage and trust God's plan for your life, and look for the light, look for the happiness, look for the joy, look for God. And I'm going to close this with a couple of quotes from Mary Kay, since I've been on the Mary Kay kick with the daily calendar notes. So, one quote from Mary Kay is, "Many times the things we fear most happen because we expect them to happen. Fortunately, the opposite is also true. When we expect great things will happen. We are surrounded by abundance, and we can draw it to us by expecting it." So I expected those prayers to be answered, and I expected in His time that God would send me the man that He had for me. And the other quote that I will state in closing, Mary Kay said, "Enthusiasm is the motivating power to success. The person who is enthusiastic exercises a magnetic influence over those with whom he or she comes in contact. To become enthusiastic, act enthusiastic. It could easily revolutionize your life." So, in that happiness, in that moment of courage, be enthusiastic, because what God has set in front of you on your path has potential to be absolutely incredible. And you'll never know what that future holds unless you take that first step and just start. So, whatever time of day it is for you, I hope that it is blessed. And until next time, have a great day and week. and I will see you next time on Spotlight with Britt.